Hello, welcome back. We are back, everybody. We've got one more run for y'all tonight, and it's going to be a good one. We got Snowball, who is doing Super Monkey Ball Banana Rumble World Tour. I have such a hard time saying that. But Snowball, why don't you let us see some awesome Monkey Ball? How you doing tonight?
All right, hello everyone. My name is Snowball or SnowballSMB, and this is Super Monkey Ball Banana Rumble World Tour. To answer your question, Ophelia, I am doing it nice and dandy tonight because Amy Rose is in Monkey Ball now. So World Tour is pretty much a collection of the first 10 worlds of Banana Rumble. Each 10 worlds have 10 stages, and then also after you beat the first 10 worlds, then you unlock the extra worlds, and of course there's a World Tour EX that is super hard. Maybe one day I'll run it. But we're just doing World Tour, the first 100 stages of the game. I will be using Amy Rose in this run. It is important to note, right under the character name, there is a little box with speed, break, weight, and spin, and then a certain number of bananas next to it. That is because Banana Rumble, unfortunately, has character stats. Every character plays ever so slightly differently, and that matters in RTA, and it really matters in IL speedruns. But Amy Rose is my favorite character in probably anything. So I'm going to be running with Amy tonight, and I think I'm good to go, so I'm going to just give a real quick countdown, and then we are going to be off. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. So, Banana Rumble is a little bit different than every previous entry in the Super Monkey Ball series, and I've already made a slight mistake that it only costs like 0.1. And that is, this game adds a spin dash mechanic. It is not exactly the same as spin dashes in Sonic, but it's very similar. You hold down, it's by default set to the B button, and there's a little meter that shows how full your spin dash charge is down in the bottom right corner. Also, a little sort of blue aura will rise up around the ball as it charges more and more, and then it'll do a little sparkle and a little sound effect when it fully charges. And a spin dash will give you a big burst of speed. This stage sort of is the introduction to that mechanic. You need to charge spin dashes to get up these ramps. And a lot of strats will require, just knowing when and where exactly to spin dash for the most optimal series of bounces, for burst of speed, all that good stuff. Amy Rose has a pretty solid spin dash in terms of the strength of the boost that you get, and an incredibly fast charge time. Her spin dash charges to maximum output significantly faster than most of the cast. Hers cools down a little slowly, but her charge time and also just raw movement speed sort of offsets that a bit. This stage is really cool in an RTA setting because it's all about knowing when to use your spin dashes, how much of a charge you want, and just sort of general movement optimization. I really like that one, actually. I did not at first, but the more I play it, the more I enjoy it. This stage, for anyone who saw the original trailer for the game, probably recognized that as one of, I think, maybe the final stage that they showed off. With that skip, really sort of advertising, hey, you can do fun speedrun strats with this cool new mechanic. And you can also do that fun skip with this cool new mechanic. But that is the first world done. Now we're moving on into one of my least favorite worlds in the entire run, just because there are a bunch of stages that love to just fling me off in very annoying ways. But it is a very beautiful background. This is the Rose Garden, and it's got some interesting stages. Like this one, you don't really have to play normally. I say normally, but with the spin dash, it's not really normally. Sort of the quote-unquote intended route on that stage is just going around the little rectangular walls and finding your way through the thing, but you can just skip literally the entirety of it. Now we're coming up to 2 stages in a row that are a little temperamental with Amy. Okay, that went very, very well. That was Wonder Maze. It's a maze. It's a garden maze. We don't play any of it. This stage is called Sky Garden, even though it's not a garden. And that is a beautiful clip. For some reason, that clip is very finicky to get with Amy. The Banana Rumble, one of the new characters in Banana Rumble Palette, and also Baby, I feel like have a significantly easier time lining up that clip than Amy does, and I honestly don't know why. Could just be that I am very not used to, or rather very used to Palette's stat spread on that stage as opposed to Amy's, because Amy released on July 30th, so it hasn't even been 2 weeks, and this game released on June 25th, so I had been using Palette pretty much exclusively in RTA before Amy released. Also, that skip is really, really cool. Also, this is another stage we're not going to play at all, is we can just do this and spin dash to get up the thing. Usually I have a little bit more backwards momentum towards the goal on the landing, so I ended up losing like a second because I just like dropped and sat there. But now we got a cycle skip here and then a really cool clip that I've never saved that like that before. Okay, I'll take it. And I'm going to go for a very greedy skip around that clock hand. I probably shouldn't have gone for that because that almost forced me to fall off. Like, that would have been 18 seconds at least that I would have lost. But now we are into the floating city. This is a very switch-heavy world. Switches just are sort of, you know, play buttons, pause buttons, fast-forward buttons that start various stage animations, and there are a whole lot of stages in World 3 that utilize switches in some pretty fun ways. And since switches have little bits of collision on the sides, there will be some instance. I just completely forgot how to do that. There will be some instances of using the little collision with a spin dash on the switch to do some pretty fun skips. We're not far from a big instance of that. This stage is very straightforward, just some wiggly paths. I really, really enjoy that stage. It's very simple, and it does what it's supposed to do beautifully. But here, the play button causes that drawbridge to my right to start moving, but if you hit it like that, you don't have to do anything with going over that drawbridge. And then the second drawbridge set, you don't actually have to hit the play button, you can just run across. I do need to be a little bit careful on this stage because the most recent update to the game did something interesting. So it sort of reworked ever so slightly how the physics worked to make it more deterministic and just overall play better. However, there was an unfortunate bug added, and that is going through most wormholes will now send you either right or left a little bit. I also hate this stage, by the way. Fortunately, Sega and the development team seem to be aware of what is happening, aware of the wormhole glitch, and they are working on fixing it as we speak. So that is good. But that stage was sort of the one that we really found out about it on, so that one I just have to play a fair amount safer than I would otherwise, because otherwise I would just go barreling through that wormhole and probably get 50 remaining on the clock or so. That's down the hole. God dang it. This World 3 is pulling no punches tonight. That's how that's supposed to look.
This looks mean.
Yeah. Some of these stages can get pretty mean, unfortunately. But fortunately, we are on the final stage of World 3, up the road. This one is very straightforward, just sort of rolling a long distance. There are a couple stages in World 4 that are even meaner. And then there's really only one in World 5 that I would say is like a danger stage if you're trying to get, like, you know, either a PB or just even get started running the game. 5-3, watch out for that one. It's very long, but there's a way to beat it in like 4 seconds. I've not actually ever hit the beating it in 4 seconds. I completely misjudged how close I was to the goal and almost paid the price for it. But now we've got a very long and tedious stage called Straw. I have not figured out yet if Amy can do the full skip. Pretty much the way the collision with the bamboo works is if you charge a spin dash at a specific angle at the start of the bamboo trail, you can actually get a clip that bounces up to that layer over there and then bounces all the way straight to the goal and beats the stage in like 4 seconds. Baby and the new Super Monkey Ball character Vol the Lion both can do it, and I believe Knuckles can as well. Other characters, I'm not sure who else can do it. I'm pretty sure that others can. I would guess Fess can as well, because her spin dash is very strong. But I personally don't feel like I'm at a point where I really need to go for that strat in an RTA setting, because it is very inconsistent, very mean, and very hard. It does save a huge amount of time, but I don't find it worth it yet. Alright, did not quite get the angle. What I was trying to do there was release my spin dash at a specific angle where I would bounce off of the dish that had the button in it and hit in a way where I would just sort of fly up over the outer wall around the goal and straight into the goal. It saves so much time, but it is incredibly precise. And now I think this is the first stage with the boulders. They're just gold balls that you can push around. We'll be seeing more of these here and there throughout the run. Not too frequently, but enough that they're a fun and cool little recurring mechanic. I believe we have 4 stages left in World 4. This one and the next one are definitely the meanest 2 of the remaining ones. That was perfect. That stage, usually you have to just like take it one layer at a time, use the bamboo to get up, and I'm going to shut up and focus now. That's bad. So this stage is really, really difficult, and the strat for it is really precise. And I messed it up in the exact same way. Because what I need to do is I need to get a very specific clip off of that dish, or that hole, and then carry that into this. I released my spin dash too early. That was the clip. Yeah, Sand Garden, cruel stage, absolutely cruel stage. That should have worked. I don't know why it sent me so far left. Of course, I hit this like first try in practice right before the run. So, what is that angle? I have never seen that before. I'm gonna have to rewatch that to actually like figure out what in the world just happened, because I'm genuinely so confused. Okay, so now I'm 35.6 behind my PB, which is honestly fine. If I'm going to PB this run, it wouldn't really be because of the first half. It would be because there is so much time to save in the back half. But the reason why I haven't PB'd yet, again, is because the back half is very cruel. All right, so 604, World 4 exit. Not the greatest I've ever seen, but definitely a very solid IGT to have out of the first 4 worlds. Now we are into the Stone Valley. This world, I love desert world backgrounds. I love this background. The music is nice and chill. This stage we're not going to play whatsoever, because we don't have to. And now we're going into 5-3 Pyramid Maze. This stage has a very finicky strat, and I just completely missed the corner. All right, fall off. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to skip up at least half of the pyramid. Not good enough. Because if you can't get up halfway, you're losing an immense amount of time, because halfway up puts you right next to a bunch of ramps that are really easy to use. Sand Garden and Pyramid Maze are not usually this cruel. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. Because then the ramp up is right there, and then this ramp is right here, over here, and into the goal.
I can definitely see how that really cuts off time.
Yeah, and the IL strat, or individual level strat for that stage, you don't play any of it. There is a very specific line that you can take where you pretty much just get the corner clip, and then edge clip up 2 more layers and just skip straight to the goal. It is incredibly cool, but brutal, and missing that sucks because this cycle is slow and boring. Okay, so this is maybe the worst opening half of the run that I've played with Amy. Not the worst I've played overall, because yeah, these stages can really pack a punch if you're if you get too comfortable. These stages really keep you on your toes all the time. This stage is also really cool. I used to be like really bad at it and would just continuously either miss or smack into one of the floating walls. I'm so glad that I don't do that anymore, because it was very annoying. And also, Ophelia, take it away, because I'm gonna just be pushing this disc for 15 seconds.
Well, that definitely sounds like a fun time. But I am here to say, hello. I hope everybody's having a wonderful evening. I'd just like to say, ladies, do you have a showcase that you'd like to show off to the world? Submit your idea to a chat mode. Come join us on one of these lovely things. Welcome to submit any type of showcase as long as it's game related. We'd love to have you. Visit ladyarcaders.com for more details.
That's a beautiful reading of 5-9. I'm very happy with that. Also, something about that stage manhole that is always nice about running against the in-game splits that I am running against is I got my PB before the most recent patch. The one that I mentioned changed the way a couple things worked. And because of the way the game works now, you just save 2 or 3 seconds on manhole over pre-patch. It just plays way faster, and honestly, I don't fully understand why. I think it has something to do with the way friction works now. It works ever so slightly differently, but I will take it because that's free time save. And also that stage was 23 seconds instead of 20, so I'll take any time save I can get. But now we are into World 6, the Neon Arena. This is probably the most tedious world in the run because there are like 3 or 4 auto-scrollers, this being one of them. Elevator Maze is not a fan favorite, although that route that I took through the maze is like 10 seconds faster than the other route that you can take, so knowing how to get through that stage efficiently is what you really want. And yep, I got hit by the ball because I just completely forgot to release my spin dash. I am very bad at this stage. This is probably my worst stage in the whole run. And the exact same thing almost happened, except that time I had a little bit more forward momentum. Also, you may have noticed it looked like I just sort of rolled over the gap between the first two platforms, and that's because I did. That's called a Zorp. So sometimes you'll go at something, some piece of collision, or a corner clip, or a gap, or something like that, and it looks like you should be getting collision, but you just don't, and usually it's fast, but in that case, you don't really want it because you want the bounce earlier, so that way you can angle towards the goal with more time. I don't remember the exact lore of why Zorping happened in the originals, but I think it's sort of like, just sort of lingered in Marble Rollers ever since. But it's called a Zorp because that's honestly, like, if that was going to make a sound, it would sound like Zorp. So, Zorping is sometimes very beneficial. That stage, however, it's not beneficial. Also, we're going to use a little ramp on the end of that raft to just sort of skip the last few seconds of that stage. Cool strat alert. These are bounce pads. There were bounce pads on that stage, bouncers, 5-6, back in the Stone Valley, that I just completely forgot to comment on. But yeah, bounce pads are really cool. Also, there were dash pads back in World 4, on the first stage of World 4, and a couple others as well. Dash pads are really cool, and there are actually two different colored dash pads. There are blue dash pads and there are red dash pads. Red dash pads have significantly more oomph. So characters like Amy, like Baby, like Mimi, so on and so forth, that have a much higher break stat, usually will benefit from red dash pads in the situations where they do show up, because they need that burst of speed more. Other characters that don't have as high a break stat might get too much of an oomph off of the red plates and just sort of sail into the abyss. I'm very glad that that strat just went very nicely.
Ready?
Now back up a little bit. Release the spin dash. That's unfortunate, because now I'm losing a cycle, but that's fine. Honestly, losing a cycle on this stage is fine so long as you don't die. And in the goal. We have only one stage left in World 6, and that is Chakrams. This stage is actually pretty tricky. This sort of difficulty-wise for me in my first casual playthrough of the game was the real wake-up call stage, because I had sort of just been going about my business throughout the first majority of the first 6 worlds without too much issue, because I do have several hundred hours on Banana Mania, and Banana Rumble sort of just plays like a much more polished Banana Mania, with stage design actually geared towards the physics and camera, which is very nice.
Ready?
But Chakrams was the stage that made me realize, like, okay, wait, I've got to actually, like, start focusing up, because this stuff's getting hard now. Now we're into my favorite world in probably the entirety of the Super Monkey Ball franchise, the Candy Castle. I love this world background. The background, the floor textures, the music, every element of it I adore. The stages are absolute peak in my book.
Oh, that was cool. That was a cool stage.
Yeah, so I should have gone for binary skip, but I've not actually workshopped it with Amy yet, so I probably should. But yeah, I really like the use of invisible floors that they did in this game. We saw it a little bit on 6-1 Vanishing Floor, but I skipped most of that stage with a fun little spin dash clip. But there are a small handful, but still a handful of stages that have invisible floors that sort of like pulse on and off. And I think that that's just really, really, really cool. And now I'm going to go for a little bit of a skip here on Conveyor Factory. I usually die on this stage in World Tour specifically. Not in practice, not in World 7 runs, but finally, after 3 runs dying twice on that stage and losing all PB momentum, I have finally gotten through that strat on one try, and I'm so happy about it.
Beautiful.
Now we are on Swing Bridge. I sort of started playing with the IL, at least the original IL spin dash setup, and just sort of completely forgot about my new RTA setup. This stage is called Gotta Roll Fast. Unfortunately, I mistimed my spin dash, so I didn't get as beefy a clip towards the end of the stage that I could have. Here's Seesaw Floor. These aren't actually seesaws, they just sort of look like seesaws, but they don't function like seesaws. I'm going to do a very precise spin dash there to just skip the first half of the stage. Here are more boulders rolling down that seesaw thing. And now I am going to go on to the last one. This one is a little bit tricky, but just charge a spin dash, jump over, navigate these beams that are getting ever so slightly narrower, and also dodge the bumpers. We only have 2 stages left in the Candy Castle. This is, I think, actually going to be a faster Candy Castle as long as I don't die on this last stage than my World 7 IW PB. Because I did die once to Seesaw Floor in that. So we are not going to play these 2 final tilted boards. We're gonna just clip off the trim with a nice little spin dash there and skip straight to the end of the stage. Now we're moving on into World 8 Oceanus. This is a world that, at first, I really did not like these stages. But then, the more I played them and the more I ran World Tour, just the more and more I really, really liked this set of stages. Here's Holy Road. It's a road, it's full of holes, that's why it's called Holy Road. There is a spin dash skip from the very start that just, you fly down the road, but it's really, really tight and specific and sort of luck-based. Now we've got a really, really cool skip on, I don't actually know what this stage is called, I think it's called Seesaw Jump. We're gonna just skip the first half of it and then skip straight over to the goal like that. That is one of my favorite strats in the entirety of this game. I absolutely love it. Now we've got, I think this stage is called Half Pipe Cross. This is like the one world I still haven't really learned the names of the stages in yet. Probably because I just haven't really paid much attention to it, in all honesty. That was a really good scoop at the end with that spin dash, landing directly on the sort of junction railing between the 2 half pipes. That worked very nicely. Dang it. Now we're going for a really, really tricky skip that is actually made a little bit harder by Amy's stat spread. There we go, that's too far to the right. You can sort of see what I'm going for here. Just sort of charge a spin dash, go off this arch, hit there, straight into the goal. That strat is very temperamental. Now we've got Dividing Road. This stage is really cool, but it's also quite long unless you do something like this. I love the spin dash mechanic.
Oh my god.
This is actually the one stage, like, in the whole run that I'm actually going to opt not to spin dash at all on. I could spin dash on it and save a little bit of time, but for safety and consistency, I'm going to just roll on that line because I know exactly what's going to happen each time. This stage sucks. Nice. Oh, that is very, very finicky because those holes are circular, meaning what collision you get off them is very, very janky just because of how circular collision works in marble rollers. I almost hit that speed pad and that would have actually been probably not good. But we have only one stage left here in World 8. It is Scattered Floor. I am going to charge a spin dash, jump over here, and then just run straight at the goal, and hopefully don't get a clip that sends me over the goal, because then I'll have to go back into the goal, and that's just slow. And we only have 2 worlds left. We've got Sealum, the Sky City, and then after this we will have Astrum, which is the sort of outer space world. Starting off with rolling gear, very straightforward strat, just spin dash up onto the gear teeth and into the goal. I think that stage is square. Is this one square panels? There's so many squares and panels. Yeah, all right, that's square panels. Just a spin dash sort of clip across. I love that strat. It is so much fun. I dropped off the wrong side of the start platform, or the sort of setup that I go with here on Sundial. That was actually really good because I had not too much speed going into those speed pads. And that resulted in me getting sort of a lower pop up to the goal. And now we've got Broken Square. This stage is one of the most brutal in World 9. That was a really, really good clear of it. I'm very happy with how that went. Now we have Switch Adventure. We're going on an adventure to hit a bunch of switches and make these platforms move. So we're gonna hit this switch, get back on the raft, ride around, not get off here yet. Going to go over here to hit this play button, which is going to start the pink bridge over there. Then we are going to get back on this, ride back across, and then wait for the pink bridge to be across so we can cross it over to the goal, and then hit the pause button and roll across. This is a very long stage. There is a character, Easel, and a couple others who have a strong enough spin dash where you can just, to my knowledge, I think it's just you roll pretty much forward, charge a spin dash, and jump all the way across that gap. It's really funny, but barely any character can do it. There are only like 2 or 3, I think. Now we have a really cool bit of a cycle skip here on Spiral Zone. Going to gain some momentum here, release the spin dash. That was a very awkward spin dash, and skip a cycle onto this this spiral. This one moves very quickly, so you gotta sort of run to keep up with it. And what do we have left in this world? We've got bar graph. We've got 9-9 is called switching panels. There are so many squares and panels in this world. And then there's also Angel Ladder as 9-10, which is one of my favorite stages. To IL specifically. The IL of the strat is super, super cool and has a lot of just very neat uses of spin dash timing. Also, something that I realize I have not actually touched on at all yet is how the camera works in this game. So much like Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania, and I believe Super Monkey Ball Banana Splits as well, the game that was on the PS Vita, that like barely anyone has played because it was on the PS Vita. This game has a manual camera. You can use the right stick on your controller to angle the camera around. Holding down on the camera will lock it in place and look perpetually down. We call that cam lock. There's also a button, I have it set to ZR, but I think by default it's R on the Switch Pro controller, that will lock the camera in place without it looking down. So it'll just be looking how it is when the stage starts, but it will be locked in place, which is very handy for a small handful of strats. And I actually just did that. All right, let's do that again, except not fall through that. Okay, we're gonna fall through that gap like a dingus. So this is one of my worst stages in World 10, and I'm honestly mad about it because this stage is not as hard as I made it look. But yeah, that just happens. And now I'm going to use that cam lock button that I was talking about to sort of make this test of raw movement optimization possible. Otherwise, that would be another cycle or 2 of these moving platforms that we'd have to take, and that's slow. We don't want to do that. That was a very greedy goal entry I just took. And we've got Wind and Sun. This stage is really cool. Pretty tough though. You have to be careful of the emitter in the center. It will shoot little star bits at you, and if you get hit, you will get yeeted off the stage. Now we have Tornado Ring. This is one of the hardest stages in this entire run, if not the hardest, because Amy cannot do the strat where she goes over the stage. And that was a ridiculously good Tornado Ring. So that's actually the faster strat. There is a different strat that characters who have lower break stats can do, where you just fling up and over the whole tornado and then drop into the goal ring. That loses 3 or 4 seconds, but is significantly safer. But Amy's break cannot do that because she's too good at stopping, and apparently that went in the goal. I cannot believe that. Why is this 10-3 onward happening in a run that cannot PB? I've gotta know. This actually might be an Amy Rose PB though. My PB with my PB overall in World Tour is an 18:15, but my PB with Amy Rose is actually an 18:55. So this is technically on Amy Rose world record pace because I am currently the top Amy Rose runner.
Ooh.
And we only have 1 stage remaining, so be ready on time because that is coming up quick because we are going to be skipping almost the entirety of this stage by going to this back corner, charging a spin dash, releasing, jumping across, cutting back on the speed a little bit, going up and over, using these dash pads to get to the top. This is not a great angle. And in the goal and time.
Eat cheese.
Congratulations!
18:41.18. IGT.
Is it?
That is Amy Rose PB and world record.
Yes.
Unless someone
cheese.
unless someone sniped it while I was running. But regardless, that is an Amy Rose PB. Even though that was a bit of a sluggish first half, that back half of that run was monstrous.
That was beautiful.
Even if it overwrote my PB with Palette, that would still put me in 6th place overall on the worldwide board. As you can see, Baby is kind of the most optimal character in RTA right now, as the board is just a sea of babies plus Vol plus Palette plus Fess. Plus soon to be Amy, because I
was about to say, and you with Amy.
I am grinding for the sub 18 run. I am getting so close, but I will gladly take the 1840 for tonight. I did not actually expect to get an Amy Rose PB just because this run is hard. World 10 normally does not go that well. Tornado Ring usually bodies me. But yeah, that was Super Monkey Ball Banana Rumble World Tour. I'm going to give a few quick shout-outs real quick before signing off. Shout-outs to Lady Arcaders for having me on and for letting me show off this amazing game. Hopefully, sometime later this year, I'll be submitting World Tour EX to Attract Mode. No guarantees because this category is beyond brutal. Shout outs to the Super Monkey Ball Banana Era speedrunning community. Super supportive group of speedrunners and just so much fun to grind the game down in both ILs and RTA with. We're actually going to be hosting before too long a Banana Rumble IL tournament that will hopefully be starting later this month. If not, it'll be starting early September. But regardless, super cool batch of people with a lot of really fun events and whatnot going on. Shout outs to my fellow Amy Rose superfan, Callie Macken. Just an absolutely wonderful person to hang out with. And she loves Amy just as much as I do, so that's awesome. Yeah, I think I think that's just about it. Shameless plug, you can find me on Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, Blue Sky, pretty much anywhere. At SnowballSMB. I post lots about my speedruns, about my art, because I love to doodle. I like to doodle Amy Rose a lot, as well as other characters. But Amy Rose, I do find myself drawing a fair amount of. And yeah, just once again, thank you so much to Lady Arcaders for not only having me on for this Attract Mode run, but letting me show off so many just games I absolutely adore. I just really, really love this community, and just any opportunity I get to show off games like this that I just genuinely love to pieces, it means the world to me. So thank you. And yeah, I think that's all from me.
Well, thank you so much, Snowball. I have been sitting here completely eyes wide, shocked at that run. That was amazing to watch. We are going to take a quick little break, y'all. Don't leave us. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back. We will be raiding off to another wonderful person shortly after the break, but we will see you in a few minutes. Hello, welcome back. Thank y'all for hanging out with us through this little break as we get ready to raid off to one of our lovely other arcaders. Now, before we do that, I just want to let you know what's coming up. Attract Mode will be back next on Sunday, August 11th at 2 p.m. Eastern. It will be my favorite showcase on the Citadel. We're going to be teaming up to save a new galaxy with Sanjan, Corvame, and Metroid Prime. They're going to be fighting their way through Mass Effect Andromeda's co-op multiplayer mode. See y'all there, gamers. And I just want to say, thank you so much. All of the funds raised through bits, subscriptions, and Ko-fi are put towards running events, tech, and hosting for later arcaders. We appreciate your support. We are going to be raiding off to Jo_EXE. She is working on some Tunic randomizer. So if you're interested in cute little foxes and running rando, stick around and join us through the raid. We'll see y'all soon.